Hi, I'm Jules from Bonnie Bakery. Today I'm going to show you how to make one of the easiest but most satisfying desserts, blueberry crumble. I love this because it comes together literally in just a couple of minutes. Very simple ingredients, and it's really versatile. You can make it your own and add things, change it however you like. It's a really great comfort dessert for when you just want to throw something together really fast. So the ingredients are super simple. We're just going to use a really basic crumble topping. I use this topping on everything. I put it on muffins, on pies. It's really delicious. And that's going to be using just all-purpose flour, plain white sugar, and some unsalted butter, and a little bit of salt here as well. Then for the blueberries, I have just fresh blueberries here. You can use frozen if you want. Just make sure that you defrost them before you use them, drain off any excess liquid, and add a little bit more flour, which I'll show you later. You can also use other kinds of fruit. Honestly, this worked really nicely with other berries, apples, peaches, whatever you like. This is a very flexible recipe. And then I'm going to use a lemon for some fresh lemon juice as well. You can just use like the bottled lemon juice if you want, but I just like the fresh flavor. The first thing I'm going to do is just melt this butter. I love this method of making crumble because we're using melted butter, which means you don't have to use any kind of food processor or pastry cutter. A lot of crumble recipes you have to use cold butter, and it's a little more arduous. This is so quick and simple. So I'm going to pop this in the microwave 20 seconds at a time until it's completely melted. Now that the butter's melted, I am going to prepare my blueberries. So I'm going to take 2 tablespoons, just roughly, of the flour and 3 tablespoons of the sugar, and just sprinkle it over the blueberries like this. And I'm also going to use some of that lemon juice. So I'm just going to use this fresh one, but again, you can use the bottled kind. So you want roughly a tablespoon of lemon juice. It doesn't have to be precise. This is just going to help keep the flavor nice and fresh and enhance the sweetness. And then you just want to mix this all together so that it kind of coats the blueberries. And this is going to do a couple of things. Obviously the sweetness is going to make them sweeter. But the flour actually, as the blueberries cook, they're going to release a lot of juices. And the flour is going to help to thicken those juices to make it like a nice, delicious blueberry sauce rather than just being gooey liquid in the bottom of our crumble. There we go. So now I'm going to take the rest of the dry ingredients and just mix them all together in a bowl. I'm just going to stir those just to combine. Now we're going to take that melted butter and we're going to pour this into the dry ingredients. This is going to be our crumble topping. So you might not need all of the butter. I'll show you what to look out for, but we're just going to pour most of this in and then add it like little bits at the end. So I'm just using a fork to stir this together because you're not really trying to mash it into something. You're just mixing the butter through the dry ingredients. And you want to do this until it makes like kind of a really moist, crumbly mixture. You'll have some really big lumps and some smaller ones. It's going to be delicious. I'm just going to add a little bit more butter. And just keep going until there's no like unmixed flour or anything in the bottom of the bowl. And you could kind of almost use your fork to rake through it and separate the clumps, if you know what I mean. And in this case, I am going to use all my butter. Okay, that looks good to me. So I'll just show you. It's like thick clumps here. There's some really big bits, some smaller bits. If I were to squeeze it, it'll kind of smoosh together like this. But you want to just keep it nice and loose and crumbly. And that's going to be our crumble topping. Okay, so that is literally it for the preparation here. We've got our blueberries and our crumble topping. Now we just want to put it into a dish. This recipe makes enough that fits perfectly into an 8x8 baking dish. That's a perfect size for our family. It serves, I'd say, maybe around 6, depending on your portion size. If it's for my husband, then maybe only 4 portions. But this will work in any kind of dish. It doesn't have to be a specific shape or size, really. It works really nicely in a pie dish. I also like to sometimes put it in these individual ramekins, so you can have like individual portions. If you're going to do a much bigger dish, something closer to like a 9x13, then I would just double the recipe. But for this kind of roughly this size, this works really well. So I'm just gonna pour the blueberries right into the dish here. Might need some little nudging. And there's a bit of flour in the bottom there, so I'm just gonna sprinkle that on top. And just spread them out into a nice even layer. And then this is the fun part. You're just going to grab the crumble in your hands and just sprinkle it generously all over the blueberries. In my opinion, there's no such thing as too much crumble on these. If you want less, you can obviously be more sparing with it, but personally, I think, why would you want to do that? And you just want to make sure that you're covering all of the blueberries, and you want to make sure that you're letting some of those bigger chunks fall and some of the smaller ones, just keeping it nice and like sprinkled, if that makes sense. This looks like a lot of crumble to fruit ratio, but I think it works out really nicely. As it bakes, it's going to turn into the most delicious, crunchy, buttery, sweet topping. Okay, so that is good to go. How quick and easy was that? Now we're just going to pop this in the oven. It's going to go in for roughly 35 to 40 minutes. What you want to look for is the crumble to be starting to turn like a beautiful golden brown color. And also, as the blueberries cook, they're going to start to bubble up a little bit. So you'll see like little bursts of bubbling blueberry sauce coming through the top of the crumble. So you should see that bubbling as well. All right, I'm going to pop it in the oven. Oh my gosh, look at this. It looks and smells incredible. I'm so excited about this. Tip though, don't dive in right now. Give it like 10 minutes to cool down, otherwise you are gonna burn your tongue. So I'm gonna just try and resist this for a few minutes. Like I said, this is a really basic crumble recipe. You can customize this in so many ways. You can add oats to it to make it more like a crisp. You can add chopped nuts, spices like cinnamon and ginger, make it a really nice kind of like Christmassy feel. And obviously you can do it with all different kinds of fruits as well. So yeah, that's a very flexible dessert, so quick and easy to do. Okay, I can't wait any longer. I'm gonna dig into this now. This is best served warm. You can do it with like ice cream or custard or anything really. It's delicious with all of that. Okay. Go. Oh, look at those blueberries. Oh my goodness. There we go. I'm gonna scoop up some of those extra blueberry juices down here. Pop them on the side. Oh, I cannot wait to eat this. Okay, I'm not waiting another second to have a bite of this. I don't even know what to say about that. It's just like the warm blueberries and then just that crunchy sweet topping is just perfect. I cannot believe that a dessert so delicious is so easy to make. I'm going to immediately go and eat this entire thing. Thank you so much for watching this recipe. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions about the crumble or how to make it, let me know in the comments. I have the full recipe with measurements and everything on the blog post, which I'll link below. And I will see you next week for another bake. Happy baking!